Okay, if we open our Bibles to the book of Genesis, chapter 26, that is the whole chapter of 26. We look of the story of Isaac. Isaac, he was the son of Abraham, as we all are aware of Abraham. He he was in his very old time when he actually gave birth to Isaac. At that time, the Lord appeared to Abraham and told him that he's going to bear a son. But at that time, Abraham could not believe it because of his age. And also, when you look at Sarah, Sarah was also in her like late 90s, very old. So Abraham laughed at the Lord, like, how can this be possible? But instead, uh, the Lord actually hold his tongue until Isaac was born. And we see in the way Isaac grew up, the Lord has been guiding him and also protecting him. And here in chapter 26, we see Isaac as he has been walking with the Lord. The Lord instructed Isaac to go to a city called Gerar. And in that city, Isaac actually, when he arrived in the city, they were in the history, actually the history of that city, it says, it is being said that a lot of people who have stayed in there, including Abraham, once stayed in that city. There was a lot of famine in there, meaning there was no food, even water, there was nothing. It was sort of like a desert, but because it was the Lord who had instructed Isaac to go into that city, Isaac did not argue. And as we read again in in that chapter, that is on verses 12, I'll read it on my side. It says, Isaac sowed seed in that land, and that year he harvested 100 times as much as he had sown before. As much as he had sown, because the Lord had blessed him. So here we see that even though this place was it was full of famine of all the past years that has been recorded, but in this year, because Isaac was in that city, it's recorded that there was sort of a bumper harvest, because they say, yeah, he harvested like 100 times more. That is what he ended up getting after he had done his irrigation in there. And it was all because the Lord has actually has guided him and he had blessed him. And if we see in the story that if you walk with the Lord and you obey, you listen to his commandments, the Lord will surely bless you. And also, even if we look in this life history of Isaac, the way Abraham trained his child, he trained him in the right ways, that he will not depart from it. And as we can bear witness now, that he walked with the Lord, and up until now, he's still walking with the Lord, and the Lord is blessing him, and the Lord is guiding him. All right. And then as we read further in from verses 16 to 25, I'll read from my side here. Then Abimelech said to Isaac, leave our country. You have become more powerful than we are. So Isaac left and set up his camp in the valley of Gerar, where he stayed for some time. He dug once again the wells which had been dug during the time of Abraham, and which the Philistines had stopped up after Abraham's death. Isaac gave up the wells, the same names that his father had given them. So here we see after he had after he had had a harvest, and the Philistines started being jealous of Isaac, uh, because they could see he was getting rich and more powerful. He had more animals, he had more grain, more than them, and he was becoming a very respected person in the community. So the Philistines, what they first did was to close his source of water. They started closing on all the wells that he had dug. But one thing that I like about Isaac, when they closed the wells, he did not fight with them, or he did not try to say, okay, let me go and report to the police, to the council, or to the chief, to say, okay, this is what's happening. But because of the person, because of the Lord he believed in, he just left and dug another wall elsewhere, and at that time the Philistines also followed, and they also started making quarrels with him whenever he dug any wall, because every time when he dug any walls, water was running through. The valleys were still having water running through, and that is a sign that the Lord was still blessing him. But Isaac never dwell on any quarrels or anything. If the Philistines come and started arguing with him, what he'll do, he'll just leave and move on and dig another well. So this, if we can reflect in our lives, we dwell so much in a lot of things that happens in our lives, like bad things or setbacks, if I might call it, whereby it closes our progress. We might be having maybe so many disappointments in lives, whereby instead of us looking forward to say, okay, fine, I've been disappointed, but guess what? I'm still alive. This is a gift from God. I must use this gift. Let me continue to praise the Lord. We dwell so much in the pain that we end up even drifting away from the Lord. Uh, Whereas we are supposed to just keep on digging again another wall. We have to keep on digging again, whereby the Lord will never leave us. He'll always continue to guide and protect us. And also, even if we look in the life of Job, a very good example. I'm sure all of us have witnessed or have read the story of Job. He had so many riches, he had so many kids, he was blessed in abundance, if I can say. But when the devil came and destroyed everything, because also we must remember that in every good thing that happens in life, the devil is there to destroy. Hence, Jesus says he come to seek and save the lost. The devil comes to destroy, and the Lord comes to help or to deliver everything that has been destroyed. So in this case, we see Isaac. He just kept on digging another well, even at a point where, if we read on chapter 26, where they say Isaac's servants they dug another well there, and there was a quarrel when the Philistines came and they started quarreling, saying, no, this is my well. But he never continued in the quarrel. He didn't focus in the quarrels. He just left and dug another well, and he just named that well quarrel because of what has been happening. But he dug another well. He just kept on seeking the Lord. He kept on seeking the Lord. He never gave up in everything that has happened in his life. So this should also be a very good testimony in our lives, that whenever we face challenges, whenever we face setbacks, we should not give up the same way we do, even if I'm sure all of us, we have had our first jobs and we lost our first jobs in the long run. We never gave up to seek employment elsewhere because we have lost this job. We kept on knocking on different companies' doors, seeking for help, which is on Matthew 7. If we read Matthew 7, verse 7, it says, knock and it shall be, let me just read, ask and you will receive, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you. So we kept on knocking on different doors, because even if we look on the word knock, the act of knocking, it's not like we just knock once and you're done. It's, you don't just tap, you keep on knocking like that is a continuous process, that is a repetition, which I would say that is a again process. So we have to keep on knocking and knocking, and then in the verse it goes on to say the door will be open. The Lord will always hear us. The Lord will always answer our prayers in everything we do. And even if we look in the story of Samson, if we ever wondered why his power was always in his hair, not in anywhere else. God could have maybe say, okay, Samson, your powers are coming from your feet, but he put his powers in his head, in his hair, meaning that even if you shave your hair, it will grow again. That means his strength, even if it was shaved off, it was still going to grow again. and that is what we witnessed in the story of Samson. His hair grew, and also he had his strength again, and everything started working according to God's will. So this is what I would like to share with you, my brothers and sisters, that in life we should not give up in anything that we do. We should just keep on knocking and keep on rising, even if we fall. The same chapters in Proverbs 24, verse 16, where it goes on to say, that we fall, but what do we do when we fall? We get up. That is where it show us the difference between the wicked and the righteous. So for us, since we are the righteous ones, we have to keep on getting up, because the falling is still going to keep on happening. And as we know that the road that we are traveling, it's not an easy road. We will fall, but because of the Lord that is in us, and because the Lord keeps guiding and protecting us, we keep on getting up and fight. We fight the good war, the good fight, until Jesus comes again. And with this, I say, may we all be blessed, and we keep on getting up when we fall. Let's we not forget the power of again, because in the again, that is where it shows the difference between the wickedness and the righteousness. Thank you so much, and God bless you.